Purpose, Celia, today, chapter 2.
Purpose today, chapter 2. It's the shortest chapter, that's probably the most difficult one to crack.
Yes.
And the most important one, in a way. Well, I mean, obviously, I said last week, chapter 1's the most important. But after that, that's why we've got chapter 2 right after that, because actually, yes, you need to know what you want to do, what you want to achieve in life, but actually, yes, well, we want to make a profit from our business, which is obviously very important because we want to keep roofs over our heads and whatever. Once you start making that money, your motivation, it's very hard to keep going if you're not connected to some higher purpose.
This is the Justin Blake podcast experience for health professionals that mean business. So wherever you are in the world, listen as we discuss everything you need for you and your health business to survive and thrive. Thanks for listening.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Justin Blake. This is David James in full HD. Here comes Celia. The ladies are always late. Maybe is that not usual? Hi, Celia.
Hi, good morning.
It's the ladies' prerogative, isn't it?
Yeah. Just on time.
To be late. Sorry. I think Kate's saying something.
You're just asking about the link. I've just posted it for her. There we go.
Here we go.
What a funny angle. Good morning. How are you all?
Good morning.
You've missed loads already.
I'm sure I have. I've been getting myself organised, and
that Kate is all you need to know about running a successful business.
5 o'clock, getting organised, and then suddenly it was like, oh my goodness, it's 7 o'clock. There we go, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. It's again, like Celia said. How does that happen? How does it come so far? How does that happen?
Creeps up on us.
I did tell you I lost or regained a day a month or so ago when I spoke to my friend Jasper on the Friday morning in Singapore. It was evening in Singapore. For some reason, the rest of the day I thought it was Saturday. Wondered why the sailing club was closed. Wondered why.
It can be whatever day you want it to be.
But I got a whole day back because I thought it was a Saturday until about 6 o'clock, and then I realised it was a Friday. So I've got a full new day. But as Dave says, it could be any day you want it to be.
Whatever day you want it to be.
What day do you want it to be? There you go. Philosophical comment.
It is just an arbitrary term. Anyway. Purpose, Celia, today, chapter 2.
Purpose today, chapter 2. It's the shortest chapter. That's probably the most difficult one to crack.
Yes. And
the most important one, in a way. Well, I mean, obviously, I said last week, chapter 1's the most important. But after that, that's why we've got chapter 2 right after that, because actually, yes, you need to know what you want to do, what you want to achieve in life, but actually, yes, well, we want to make a profit from our business, which is obviously very important because we want to keep roofs over our heads and whatever. Once you start making that money, your motivation, it's very hard to keep going if you're not connected to some higher purpose. So it's really important to understand what you want your business to be achieving in the community. So in a healthcare business, it's mostly around getting people better, keeping them better. But it's really important to connect with that higher purpose so that it keeps your motivation going, but also keeps your staff's motivation going. And if you're focusing on that, then the profit will come. Yes, you do need to focus on the profit as well, and you do need to look at your numbers, which we are all very hot about numbers. But if you don't have that overall practice purpose to be aspiring to, it can make it very difficult to run a business. So whilst it's the shortest chapter, it probably takes the longest to complete.
Yes.
That's because it's an ongoing thing. It's never static. You think you've got it, and then it's like, oh my god, it's something different, and that's part of the fun. It's the journey which I kind of enjoy with the purpose bit. So I like that chapter. Not just because it was the shortest one, obviously.
it's really interesting for me to revisit it because, like we said, I don't know when I filled this out, but it was sometime before my 40th, so I don't know how many years I did it.
Hang on a minute, Kate. You're the one who does numbers. So if you can't work out when your 40th was, I'm a bit worried.
But when I did the vision, I wrote down what was going to happen when I was 40. So how old was I when I wrote down the vision for when I was going to be 40? 32, 32, 29? I don't know. I've got a clue. But what's really interesting is, I think you're absolutely right, Celia. It takes you a decade to figure out the purpose. And I think what I did very quickly, too quickly, because that was easy for me to do and easy for the person completing it, was on the exercise 5, start putting the numbers in. So I filled the in with all the numbers of what does this mean in terms of appointments and quantity and blah, 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 because you can, but that's not really that's just the roadmap almost. And I think I don't think I did spend enough time on defining the sort of
and I mean, now I think if I had to rewrite this book, I would spend more time writing, giving a bit more guidance about different ways to come up with your purpose and different examples and different kind of just thought processes, because I think we kind of put exercise 4 in there and just come up with your practice purpose and just actually in retrospect now I think I would have maybe put the Simon Sinek thing in, and there are things that have come up after writing this book that I think would be really useful to include. So one day in the rewrite, that might just go in there.
Yes,
I think that purpose is really deep, though, isn't it? It's you kind of. I mean, I remember working out my purpose, and I'm not even certain I've got it completely nailed yet. But there was I was having a conversation with a couple of my coaches about it even a couple of years ago, and once we started to drill down and down and down, there's a visceral response to it. It becomes more emotional. And you find yourself in kind of, weights lifted off shoulders, very kind of, filled with emotion about that message that you want to put out there. And when you get it, it's very obvious when you're helping somebody to find their purpose. You can see that their whole body language changes. It's a really amazing thing to see. Yeah,
and I think that's exactly that. It's that emotional feeling about it that you connect with it. So far too often, you'll be, speaking to people and they'll come up with some kind of vision statement or mission statement or purpose statement, whatever you want to call it. And they're like a little bit cringy about it. And I think, it doesn't sound quite right. And then it's like, well, okay, then we've got to go back to the drawing board, because if you feel cringy about it, then that's not your purpose. You've got to feel completely connected to it. And sometimes people will look at other people's purposes and think, oh my God, that's cringy. And well, that's fine. You can think that about someone else's purpose. As long as a person that's put it out there doesn't feel cringy about it, then it doesn't matter. There's got to be, it definitely has to be something that you completely connect with and feel that you'll put it up on your website, you'll put it on your walls, you'll shout it out to the world, because otherwise it's wrong.
Or you'll tattoo it on your forehead.
Maybe not that. Maybe not going that far, but.
Well, then it's not your purpose, is it? Really, if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to go that far.
In my practices, I never really figured it out. I was just all about the she'll be right, mate. Just get on with it. I ran practices like that for quite a while. Then we worked on purpose. God, I'm still probably trying to work that out. That was quite a journey with a lot of people. Still haven't figured it out.
The purpose is to play as much tennis as possible, surely.
No, that's Zen, Dave. That's Zen. Have you seen snail racing? Have you seen the snail racing?
I can read what I wrote for that exercise 4, and it is way, and I don't know, let's say this is 10 years ago, something like that I wrote it. It's way, way, way too generic. And any physio could have written it more or less.
Excuse me, this might be a little bit of a weird request, but somebody wants to see the socks. There you go, Trip. Sorry. It's coming in the comments. Can you not see them?
What?
Everybody
No. Hang on. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, hang on.
Celia?
I think Trip needs to get himself onto a very different live stream, and probably one where he protects his browser a little bit as well.
Yeah, okay, Trip. Yeah, get rid of your Trip. Yes, we've got socks. Celia, have you got socks on?
Yeah.
What
Do you want me to show my sock?
Yeah, there we go. You're gonna have to step back.
No socks for me.
My belly dancer.
You don't want to see anything below this point. I can tell you now. I've just come back off a bike. I've just come back off a bike ride. It's not going to be pretty.
Have you seen Tyler Peck on Instagram any days? She's the lead ballet dancer for the New York City Ballet, and she live streams from her kitchen every day. It's worth watching. She could get her head. She would just be able to pull her leg up and say, "Here's my socks."
Anyway, enough of socks. I'm interested in Kate's purpose. Come on, let's get back to this. I want Kate's purpose.
Trip says have a blessed day.
Sorry?
Trip says we should have a day. I did it just for laughs, and you all have a blessed day. Thanks, Trip. We started off well. Blessed by Trip. Anyway.
What did I write 10 years ago? Oh, I am going to cringe.
So are we at this rate. Come on.
It's like reading your teenage diary on your
It's not right.
It'll be worse than that. Don't read it out, kid. Not for personal consumption.
It says, a business that delivers the highest quality physiotherapy to our clients in the southwest of England with... I know, through excellent customer service and pain relief, enabling pain-free active living.
See, this is where I always struggle. It's such like generic bullshit, isn't it?
I know. That's what I mean. I didn't spend enough time.
But did it serve you at the time? Did it give you what you needed at that point?
I think it made me write something. I obviously took some time to put something down. And what I think is interesting is in the clinic as a team, we defined values and we visited them and revisited them and revisited them. We didn't do the same for purpose. And I think it would have been really interesting if I'd made reviewing that purpose an annual activity or something, just so that it got refined over the years. Because yes, at that point in time, I probably couldn't have written anything very different, but I could have evolved it. And I always thought it was really curious when I'd ask physios why they were a physio. Oh, because I like biomechanics. You just get, again, a really generic, bland answer, and you'd be like, give me more.
I want to help people. I want to make people better.
Decision when they were 18, and now they're stuck with it. That's why they're physio. We talked about that a few weeks ago.
Do you know what's interesting about the purpose stuff is that I think if I'd have looked at my purpose when the business for me started, it would have been very, very similar. It would have been that kind of, why do you do podiatry? Well, I want to help people. And it's only when I kind of tapped into other stuff and I realized that when I was 20 years old and I had my foot problems and my ulceration, it was a podiatrist who basically saved my foot and my leg, that what I was looking to do was make sure that everyone could have an experience where whoever they went to who was dealing with their feet knew either that they could treat them, or if they couldn't treat them, they knew exactly where to send you and send you at the right time. So for me, it's about making sure that everyone knows exactly where to go for the health of their feet. And that's a strong purpose. And it might seem weird to kind of live that purpose through coaching and mentoring. But actually, for me, if I help other business owners to get better at what they do and market themselves better, then more people know about foot problems and where to go for the health of their feet. So actually, it achieves my purpose. It's just via a different route. Instead of me delivering the hands-on care, I'm helping other people to market so that they can deliver the hands-on care. And it's the same with the teaching as well. It fits in with the teaching. So, and that was quite a strong thing which came out was how much my story and my experience was entwined in that purpose. And I hadn't realized it before. I kept them very, very separate. And that's a conversation killer, isn't it? Eh? Look at that.
I'm just surprised Justin's so quiet. Well, not really, but
I'm figuring it all out.
It's like a therapy session, isn't it? Oh God. Kate.
There was a chiropractor called Patrick Gentempo. We're going to chat with him in a few weeks. Met him in Dublin. Can't remember, 10 years ago. And again, he was like all that chiropractic stuff. I mean, you'd write out your purpose, and in the morning you'd hug it all out beforehand and chant the mantra and all this sort of. He's like, really? Come on, lads, should be right. Let's go. Yeah, still searching, finding it.
I'm curious for your purpose when you didn't train as a clinician, but you're so committed to helping clinicians run their business better.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of probably fell into working with clinicians rather than any other type of business. But when I did start working with clinicians, I really just kind of fell in love with working with them. I just felt like I could bring a lot of value to them as opposed to other, so I did a lot of corporate coaching beforehand, and I just felt like I could bring more value to clinicians when I did, when I kind of got together with James, my previous business partner, and he had started working with osteos, physios, and chiros, or mostly osteos to start with. And I kind of, when I started working with him, I was just like, oh my word, I just love working with physios, osteos, and chiros. And but my purpose that I started with prior to working with any other business really was I want to connect people, and it's connection and transformation that really, really inspires me. And so if I can connect people with ideas or connect people with other people. And that's kind of just been my whole life purpose in a way. So I've always been the one that would start a book club or start a supper club or start a wine club or introduce this friend to this friend. And, just I kind of connect people for their benefit. If I can, if 1 + 1 can equal 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, it's that to me that's what drives me. Is I always want to just see how I can connect people with people. So, or businesses with businesses, or so if I come across a person that needs a website,
work it all out, and that's it there in a nutshell.
What?
It's taken us about 18 or 20 weeks to work this shit all out. And that's it right there. It's all about connection. It's all about what you can do for other people without giving, without expecting to get back.
Yes.
Because it just makes their life easier. It's like the World Wide Web. You describe it as a web of interconnectivity. That's what it's all about.
And so I
long, hard journey to get here, hasn't it?
It's a connection. And then for me, so I mean, I know in our book it says that we want to see every practice owner enjoying their work and achieving their vision. That is what it's all about. I want people to just love what they do. How many, we've spoken about this before, how many people hate getting up in the morning, hate their jobs, like just kind of when Monday morning comes, they're just like, oh my God, it's Monday again, like I can't wait for Friday. So there's a big thing about, wanting people to really just love what they're doing. And practitioners, they love treating people. They love doing the physio bit of it, and they love doing the podiatry, and they love helping people and doing the actual technical bit of their job. But a lot of the time they don't feel confident and they don't enjoy running their business. And that's what I want to help practice owners just kind of actually love running their business.
Did you find the mindset from slightly different clinical groups was different or easier to?
It's interesting because I mean, I think there's a handful of chiropractors that have been exposed. I think sometimes chiropractors are more exposed to a lot more. There are loads of chiropractic coaches out in the world, loads of American-based chiropractors, and also in the UK and whether there's loads of chiropractic coaching businesses. So yes, maybe chiropractors get a little bit more exposed to that, but I've come across so many chiropractors where they haven't, and everybody says, oh, but chiropractors get a lot more business training in their colleges, and until recently they really haven't. So that's just completely not true. And so there are lots of chiropractors that actually haven't, so physios will always say, oh, but chiropractors and osteopaths are so much more business savvy. Well, actually, I don't think that's particularly true. I've got lots of physio clients that are business savvy, but so I think that I think they're all kind of in the same boat. Yes, maybe the chiropractors and osteopaths now get a little bit more in terms of the college. I mean, we go in and we lecture at the colleges, and we do a little bit of post-registration training with the chiropractors and stuff, but it's not, it's not, certainly not a business degree that they're getting, but that can be true for any other profession. How many hairdressers, then when they go and learn how to be a hairdresser, they don't get business coaching at the same time. When you become a solicitor, you don't get a business coaching, or business training kind of thing to go, this is how you're going to be a solicitor, but this is also how you're going to run a business. You don't get that. You go and you learn your trade. And that's why the four of us in the room here have businesses that support therapists to run their business. That it's just like you would get a personal trainer at a gym, or if you're wanting to, kind of learn to swim. Yeah, you get a coach, tennis coach. There you go. It's a natural thing that one should just say, well, if I'm going to run a business, I need a business coach. Just find the right one for you. If you want someone that's going to shout at you and push you, get Justin. If you want someone that's going to kind of get self-directed learning and stuff and motivate you, whatever, get Dave. And then if you want someone that is really going to be hot on numbers, get Kate. So it's about finding the right business coach for you to help you build that business. Or just hire all four of us. There you go.
I think that's a really interesting point. Actually, it's like there's as many different people in the world, there's many different coaches for people in the world as well, and it's fine. I mean, I don't know if I've told the story on here before, where my first ever business coach was very much like Justin, was very much a get down and give me 20 coach. And that didn't work for me because it just bounced off me. Whereas my second coach was a really very kind of touchy-feely coach. And she was brilliant. She would actually, we would look at a lot of personal development stuff, and my turnover went up by 45% from one year to the next because she had the approach which worked for me. And it took me having one coach who was a brilliant coach, but just not for me, and having a coach who was for me, where the difference was immense. So it's finding the right person.
Yeah,
I'm not like that at all.
Never would we have guessed that.
I think you showed your true colours last week, actually.
My coaching is quite fun because, but no, Celia, I would have thought, somebody goes along, they're going to choose profession, and they go along, they walk into the chiropractic thing, and the guy's got a Porsche of the Aston Martin outside, like some of them do, and he's running quite a busy, like switched-on clinic, and then they walk into a little, like up the back of a pharmacy, chiropody clinic. And it's like a little bit tatty around the edges, or another physio. I've always got the perception. And then they go off and then they decide, does that not attract that certain type of person to that type of profession? So Tripp, who was on, lives in Kent in Texas, and he is a professional wrestling referee. The guy who wanted to see the socks. He's an insomniac. That's why he's up at like 3 a.m. or whatever it is there. Or it was probably only 1. I didn't go to bed about 2:30. Anyway, does not attract that type of person?
So we attract professional wrestling coaches who like socks. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, if that's
I'm off to change my entire business model. Bye.
then show the socks, and then he only did it for a laugh.
Look, it's bad enough. It's bad enough that as a podiatrist, we've been trying to shift the are you into feet? Do you have a foot fetish question for many years? So we get this.
A couple of people on Instagram do that.
Just in the foot fairy, the foot whisperer,
Foot whisperer.
A foot whisperer, yeah, a foot whisperer.
There's a story behind that, but I won't tell you now.
Oh.
No, please don't. Not before breakfast, anyway.
A friend of mine, her friends called me the foot whisperer. I fixed her foot in a bar. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, tonight.
So David Justin involves,
Tonight we're going to be doing foot whispering. We're going to be talking about what the F is all this biomechanics stuff about at 8 o'clock. Because there's a lot of people out there struggle with biomechanics and about foot function. And we're going to try and demystify it a little bit.
Can I also, that sounds really good, but can I also drop a little kind of plug in here for something which Kate is doing next week, which is a 5-day Understand Your Clinic Finances Challenge, which we're going to get the details out later on today.
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh dear, mucked this up completely now.
Justin, I can introduce you to a coach who can help you to use IT as well.
15-year-old in. Anyway, it's what the F is all this biomechanics stuff about. There's 34 people going, why do people say maybe? Just go or
They're going to know how to make a business, then they can join the 5-day challenge tomorrow.
Right. Cool. Tell us all about the 5-day challenge.
Make sure that they can pay their rent once they know their biomechanics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the other part of this is I think you've got to work on both. You've got to be a good clinician and we're clinicians. Like to take for granted your clinical expertise, and you've got to be a good clinician. It's not.
Well, tell me, Kate, your clinical expertise now at the moment, because we're putting our heads together with a couple of the brightest and the brave. You know Dave O'Sullivan. I think you met him up at Hartlepool. Dave's coming on in a week or two. We're going to talk, what the hell is anybody going to do now? Tapering their training, rehab, all the sports. We're in a completely uncharted time now. What's going to happen between now and March or April next season? If there's more lockdown coming and rugby players testing positive and for COVID and other players, and sport is going to be locked down. So we're going to be in completely unprecedented times. What does everybody do? Just eat, drink, and be merry until Christmas and then start to shred it? Completely lay off everything? Or we don't know. Anyway, Dave, who's the England rugby. You've met Dave. I think you've been out with karaoke for Dave. Yes, that Dave.
I haven't been on karaoke with him, but I knew he is.
He's with the Leeds Rhino coach for about 5 or 6 years, and he was the Munster rugby coach. He went to England with the Rugby World Cup recently, and he's been 2 times lead England Rugby League World Cup physiotherapist. Dave, he also works with some golfers, and he's anyway, Dave, we're going to go for karaoke with another Dave, the lunatic. We're going to be talking all things. It was like, Dave and Celia sat beside him at a mastermind meeting all day. It's like, this guy's pretty switched on. He knows what he's doing. Rugby physio, Then after dinner, it was more beer and shots, and then it was like karaoke around the corner. It opens at 11. Let's go, and now you're up singing again. Let's go. And I woke up at 3. I woke up the next morning, didn't know where I was. That's Dave O'Sullivan. Anyway, it's going to come on. We're going to completely uncharted territories. Rehabilitation. Let's have a think.
It's an interesting question about athletes and what's happened. What's the consequence of all this is on sports. They won't want to return to.
There's a guy who's Irish. He's an Irish guy. I can't remember his name. He's from Northern Ireland. He was a pommel horse, and he won the World Championships, and he was going for the Olympics this year. And he was interviewed a couple of times at the start of lockdown. But you're not going to the Olympics. What are you going to be doing? And he was like training in his mum and dad's back garden. Well, now shit, this could be another year. So what's that guy going to do now? Does he keep going? Does he taper? Does he just stop? Does he stop? Who knows? Nobody knows. We've got to work it out. Dave and I are going to do a blueprint with a couple of other people, trying to figure this all out. May or may not be right for everybody. But, again, dance people are with Tom Novella. Johnny Sexton for Ireland, the rugby player, reckons he's going to give him another couple of years. Guys have just had surgery now, came back to training. Right now, they've got an extra maybe 3, 4, 5 months. Anyway, we do digress.
I was going to drop a challenge. I was going to drop a challenge in Kate's direction.
Go on then.
Because we are coming up on our 30 minutes, and Kate is the expert at taking everything we've talked about and putting it very succinctly into 30 seconds worth of takeaway stuff, which you could. That's the bit you want to listen to at the end.
Forget the rest.
Come on, Kate. Come on. Get it. Come on.
So Celia's book, Chapter 2. Chapter 1 was all about identifying what's important to you personally so that you make sure your business is designed to suit your personal life. And now we need to think about what the purpose is that you're wanting to make professionally, which will come a lot down to the emotional reason why you are whatever profession you are in the first place. And you need to take time to look at both of these because they're the foundations. They create the framework for what you're going to then be building with regards to your business. So don't hurry too much onto the objectives until you've taken a little bit of time to really identify. But a little bit like a termite mound, it will get built and layers will come off and layers will get added and wearing will wear layers off. So some time to identify both. But what I think I would have benefited from doing is making sure that there's a minimum an annual review of both so that they evolved over time as I understood myself better, the profession better, and the impact it was to make better. So have a good go at Celia's book and take some time to chapter 1 and 2. And then next week, start making it all happen.
How does she do that? How does she just take all that conversation and just go?
What was your primary game?
No, out karaoke singing and have your foot inspected.
Can you remember what he made you sing? Dave doesn't just ask you to sing; he makes you sing. Here you go, get up again. More shots. That's Dave O'Sullivan. And some of the rugby stories. Oh my God! You imagine the England rugby league team over to Australia.
I've never been to rugby, and it's only up the road. So
it's those guys. Well, especially rugby league because they are rugby league and Australian rules football are always been at the cutting edge of sports science and always pushing things on. They're always the elite. All the research and stuff comes from them. Everybody else catching up still.
Wonderful. Right, Dave, I have this 5-day stuff to prepare for and get organised for. Dave has done his bit. I'm behind on mine. So,
anyway, Forgotten Feet charity. Just to mention it again, Forgotten Feet, great charity in the UK, doing sterling work. Forgotten Feet next year. Land's End of John O'Groat Cycle or Sail, ForgottenFeet.org. Still working on the, what do you call it? Sponsorship. Anyway, we're getting the word out there. And Dave, there was something else last week. What was the thing last week? What was the thing last week? Sorry? You put up last week around Forgotten Feet. There was something. Somebody else.
We got back after 5 months to the venue in Birmingham, which we provide Forgotten Feet from. So there was me, Abid, Dr. Foot, and Debbie went out and treated a number of people at a shelter, and it was immense. It was absolutely immense. Just some amazing people. In fact, a load of people we'd not met before because of the transient nature of the homeless population in Birmingham. And yeah, just some lovely people who are only probably one step away from where any of us are. So yeah, it's always an honour to go and a privilege to go and help people down there.
Yeah, well, especially now, especially with family dynamics and a lot of obviously social sort of changes going on, even more so now, quite transient. But there's a foot an ankle conference show in a couple of weeks, Dave, is there? Not
yeah, sorry. There's Foot Health, an orthotics company run by Kieran down in Banbury, are putting something. Kieran's Carew, putting something together. I'm waiting for some details to come out, but they've got some education being provided over 2 evenings and a morning, I think, or it might be an evening and 2 mornings, or something like that over a weekend, which is going to be quite good. There's 3 speakers.
All for Forgotten Feet, and maybe try and pull that.
All for Forgotten Feet.
Get that over next week.
That's going to be good. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting stuff, definitely.
So next week, we're talking pipeline.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Well, that's your speciality, Dave and Dustin.
And this evening, we're going to be talking this. What the F is all this bad mechanics about? 8 o'clock, if you want to go into the private group. Well, that's what somebody wanted the title to be. I was going to make it something slightly more boring. Because I told you, I don't curse when I talk bad mechanics. Only curse when I talk business. So if you want to come along, you've got to join my private Facebook group. It's a shameless plug, I know. But the Foot Mobilisation Clann, you can get an invite, you can find me, and you'll get on there, and we'll be there. The Spanish girl was lovely yesterday. She does a lot of rehab. She knows a little bit about rugby and rehab. You didn't see the interview.
I have some concerns. Can you scroll back up to your banner on that one a moment for me?
This one. I don't like this.
What's the banner at the top?
This format.
Yeah, I think your immediate concern is that you actually have no legs below just above the knee. So you probably need to get that sorted before mobiling anyone else.
If we can revert back to the old version of Facebook. How do we get there? It actually looks fine.
I haven't got the new version of Facebook yet, so
I
haven't done it, but
I defaulted to it. Anyway, you didn't see the interview? She's Spanish. She played rugby. She told me she used to be a hooker.
Well, yes.
But then she was taking the piss because she knew exactly what it meant. She spent 3 months in Cork learning English. I was like, well, you went to Cork. Obviously, we like the challenge. If you can learn English in Cork, you can learn English anywhere. Have you heard the Cork accent? You've spoken to Lorcan and a few other colleagues down there. It's a complete... I need a translator, Google Translate, when I go to Cork. Sorry. Up the rebel. Anyway.
Hey, guys.
We're going to go.
We're going to wrap up.
We're going to go. We're going to have a chat.
Need to go.
Bye, everybody. See you, Trip.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
bye.